First, let's talk about this, the UK cutting benefits to get people back to work. This is from the IMF. This is the International Monetary Federation, or whatever they call, which are supposedly usually quite woke. But they've suggested slashing unemployment benefits would encourage men, in particular, to find jobs. It comes amid a so-called worklessness crisis in Britain, with over 9 million working-age adults out of work. Mel Stride, the Work and Pensions Secretary, has already acknowledged the need for radical welfare reform. Last month, he unveiled plans to make 150,000 people signed off work with mild mental health problems start looking for work. And he warned that the normal ups and downs of human life risk being labelled as a medical condition. So what about going a step further and saying, yeah, we're cutting your benefits and you're actually going to have to work to eat? That's what it's about, isn't it?
Absolutely. But Jeremy, first of all, please can I just reprimand you on the fact that you have defined the IMF as being woke. I'm not sure that you meant that as a pejorative, but I don't think you could ever describe the IMF as being woke. The IMF, remember, are about commerce. They're about capitalism. They're about how can we take the worker ants and push them to their absolute limit to ensure that people like Rishi Sunak continue to live the life that they are accustomed to. And what this report tells us is that men aren't working hard enough. We want you men to work harder. It's not enough that you're doing one job that may be for 18 hours. We want you to do at least 2 jobs that last 20 hours. You don't need sleep,
Jeremy, let me in, Jeremy.
Go on, you can defend me.
Go. This is craziness.
Yes, it is. We can agree on that.
Let me finish your points, and then I've got to come in here, because I just think that... No, do you finish your point?
Yes, and so when we actually break down these figures, when we're told that there are 9.25 million people who are not looking for work, they're inactive. But when we actually take apart those figures and we understand that the people that they're referencing are long-term sick, that's over 2.5 million, they're students, and they're people who have had to stop working because they are caring for other family members. Now, that is insulting.
And lots of others, and people with mild mental health problems.
Okay. So I employ people, so I'm on, I have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. And the truth of it is, for some people, not everybody, but for some people, it pays not to work. And the big thing that people hold up to really stop working is this thing about mental health. They use that as an excuse, as it says there in the intro, when you have to deal with the everyday ups and downs of life. Let me go to my doctors, and GPs are basically need to be held up for this. Let me go to my doctors and get a sick note for about 2 weeks or a month, and then as an employer, you can't touch them. I really do think, in the West especially, there is a culture that actually working is not the sort of thing to do, is that we want to try and make life a lot easier and sort of cushy. And these ideas that people are working extremely hard, I just think that it's not the reality. The expectation that people have as their employers is just crazy.
But Wilfred, if you say, right, we're going to, let's say, halve benefits, and the result should be someone says, I haven't got enough money to eat, therefore I'm going to have to get to work. What if they still can't? Because then they starve.
Nobody wants people to starve. We're not talking about people starving. We're talking about people who are abusing the system. I know people abuse the system.
Of that 9.25 million, who is abusing the system?
A lot of people who are off sick are abusing the system. They could get holiday pay, and they're not that sick.
Is it your contention that there's, in terms of employment, there is no such thing as long-term sick?
No,
because anyone can do something.
There is. Look, there are people who are long-term sick, and I don't want those people not to benefit. I'm just saying there are lots of people who are abusing the system.
All right.
Because the system makes it easy for them.
Well, you could both be right.
Well, I think this is the problem, though, because I think what Wilfred is referencing is a feeling, whereas what I'm referencing...
No, it's true. I deal with people like that all the time.
Figures tell us.
Well, have you had someone say, I can't come into work?
I've had people, I'm telling you, I've had people coming with a sick note, and they don't give you a day's warning. Some people don't even tell you. They don't turn up to work on a Monday and says, oh, I've just been signed up from my doctor for 3 or 4 weeks for stress or mental health problems. That's what I deal with. Not once, not twice, a number of times. And depending on the level...
And do you then look... And do you then assess in terms of... OK, so...
You can't look and assess.
No. This person has come to me, who is my employee, my member of staff, and has said, I'm being signed off for stress. Do you say to that person, is it something that I can help you with, that I can support you with in terms
Again,
of making adjustments in the workplace?
Hold on a second. There's me, the employer.
You do, Wilfred.
They come to you with a doctor's note, and the doctor says, I'm signed up for 2 weeks. You don't say a word, because you might say the wrong thing that might even create more stress.
You can't say man up or get some...
You can't say any of that.
Cojones. Let's talk to Dave in Manchester. Dave, what do you think? Slash benefits to get people working?
I would say no. It's very, very difficult to get in the first place. You have to go through the treadmill, and it is a treadmill where you're to prove that you are eligible. Plus, you're talking about long-term sickness. You are pulled through to a medical board every year or so, 15 months, where they decide whether you're fit enough to work. And you can end up getting no points at all. It's on a point system. Plus, you're ending up having to appeal, which can take over a year.
I certainly was aware of people saying that if you even turn up for the interview, you're ruled fit to work.
Exactly.
So, well, you agree with that?
I would agree. We have to be very, very clear at what is a genuine long-term sickness and what is the ups and downs of life.
I think we're talking terminal conditions.
Exactly. Okay. You can understand that, but we have to. When people say different people measure stress differently, and that's where we then get confusion. Some people think because they're feeling a bit down, that then means they're entitled to be off work for a long period of time. Someone's going to say, actually, I'm sorry, but you need to find coping mechanisms.
All right, let's take a break, and then we'll take more of your calls, though, on the UK, whether we should cut benefits to get people back to work. It's I suppose, the oldest idea of all. What do you think, Emma in Berkshire?
Oh, hi there, Jeremy.
Hi, Emma.
I agree exactly with Dave, where I used to be a registered nurse and I worked for the NHS for over 25 years. I broke my back 21 years ago and damaged some discs in a car accident that wasn't our fault, only to have operations, and then I was back at work again. And then you get punished more if you have 1 day off than if you have 3 weeks off, as it works on a point system as well. And in November last year, my contract got terminated on the grounds of ill health. Right. So I don't think benefits should be cut, because I've only just started on them. And if they cut them, I'll lose my house. And I have worked through the whole of COVID, holding the hands of patients that sadly passed, and all of that, while still being in pain every day.
And I have total sympathy. I think having an injury like that as a result of another driver is one of the worst things. And we were talking about this only yesterday. But what if they make the argument that you can't do nursing because that involves physical work, but you could work from home doing something else? And therefore, what if they say you're not actually eligible for those benefits?
No. I've also had to apply for my pension, and my specialist pain doctor said I was not fit to do any form of job because of the severe osteoarthritis in my back and in both my knees.
Well, I'm feeling, Wilfred, at that point, we do sign Emma off for life.
Well, yes. I mean, I think the only person that knows would be Emma herself, really. So is there anything then, Emma, anything at all that you would feel that you're able to do?
Unfortunately, not at the moment, no.
No. What about counselling or online or something like that?
I mean, I would love to be able to go back and be a nurse. I really miss it, but it's just something I can't do at the moment.
I understand. Well, thank you for watching, Emma, and take care. I hope the pain really is relieved at some point. Thank you. Barry in Staffordshire, hi.
Hi, good morning, Jeremy.
What do you think of this idea by the IMF, who seem to be getting more right-wing by the minute?
Well, I don't know too much about the IMF, but I don't think there should be any benefits whatsoever. And the reason for that is that I believe that if you're fit enough to go to work, then you're fit. If you're fit enough to hold a paintbrush or handle a broom, then you can do some sort of work. So I'm suggesting that no benefits will be paid, and all the people in the Rugeley area that are out of work and are on benefits should go down to the local yard and any other place in the United Kingdom and brush up the streets, fill the potholes, cut the bushes, keep the place nice and tidy, clean the road signs.
So your thinking is that no matter what the disability, there is a job for everyone. Is that right? So Stephen Hawking is able to be an astrophysicist, for example?
No. Sorry, Jeremy, you didn't quite get me there. I didn't quite understand the question. No, there'd have to be exceptions for people who are obviously disabled or who can't walk or are blind or like Mr. Hawkins.
Yeah, but what I mean, my point, I was trying to support your point by saying Stephen Hawking was about as disabled as I could imagine, and he was an astrophysicist. But I thought you were saying abolish all benefits, Barry.
All benefits. When I say all benefits, I mean all job benefits. Like you get paid for not going to work.
Yeah, no. Well, Paula, you take this on.
Okay, well, Barry, I don't know how old you are, but one of the policies that this government are seeking to enact is to encourage people who have taken early retirement to come back into the workforce. And also they're looking to increase the retirement age as well. And so we're thinking that, they're going to be people who are expected to have a full-time job well into their 70s. And I'm not sure that's something that should be supported.
But all Barry is saying, I mean, it is brutal. He said, don't pay any benefits at all, and it'll get everyone back to work.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Does that include pension benefits?
No, he doesn't. Obviously,
Barry,
it doesn't include pensions. No.
When we look at the figures, Barry, it doesn't add up. We're talking about long-term sick. We're talking about students. We're talking about those who've taken early retirement. We're talking about those who are caring for loved ones, family members, etc. Why is it that those people should not be eligible for benefits when they are actually supporting the state by providing care for people?
Barry, what about that if someone's a carer, for example, and that's why they can't work?
Well, they're a carer because, obviously their mother or their father or one of their relatives, they choose to stay at home and there should be some sort of benefit for that. Okay. I'm talking about the person, like anybody that's going to sign on the dole this morning to get benefits off the government or off the pension scheme for not working.
I hear you, Barry. OK, so we are back on what people who would be termed work shy, which is, I know, very controversial. I tell you what, we've got so many calls on this now. Let's keep going with this after our break and try and get to hear from as many viewers as we can. Then is the crackdown on rough sleepers fair? After that, is it OK to get a tattoo at the age of 89, or is that disgraceful? Later, we've got a few more stories from the papers and everywhere else, including how we no longer need to know how to swim if we want to join the Navy. At 11:15, Storm is here with Peter Bleksley and Jasmine Dottiwala, and this is how to get in touch. We've actually used the picture of the eclipse, and we could stabilise it here, because what we noticed when we stabilised it, this little white dot on the surface of the moon is really interesting. So it looks at first like a sort of speck of dust. Actually, it's our phone number.
All right.
020-7862. Who would have thought it? 2222 on the surface of the moon. So all I have to say then is the old thing here, or she says, is that the Jeremy Vine show number. These are Americans. Number up there. The kid says yes. It says 16p a minute from a landline. Dad says, wait guys, mobiles may be dearer. And then we've got the socials. We've got Threads and TikTok and the Facebook. We also have, I'm on Instagram now, by the way. You can have a look. Twitter. And the key thing in the light here is that we're on YouTube. And if you type Jeremy Vine on 5 when you're on YouTube, you will find our YouTube channel. Thank you to our eclipse spotter who saw our number there. Now, more calls on whether the UK should cut benefits to get people back to work. Let's go to Frederick in Bedfordshire. What do you think, Frederick?
Good morning, all. But the trouble is with the benefit system, there are so many students leaving school and going straight on to the dole and claiming benefits of this country. They should be going out to work, and if you don't take a job, after 3 strikes, you don't get any benefit. Stop the system, educate the children to go to school, to go to work after leaving school.
My understanding is that some people who would be in that category, they're told they've got to look for work, but when they go to the job interview, they deliberately mess it up, let's say by not wearing a shirt. So they then don't get the job.
Strikes, you don't get benefit.
Well, yeah, but then they might not eat.
That's what happened in the 70s. If you didn't take the third job, your benefit was cut for 6 months.
OK, Frederick, thank you. Ian in Staffordshire, what do you think?
It's hard for me because I was in the Air Force for 11 and a half years, and then I got a medical discharge. I was told I would never work again. I got 2 jobs. One, I had 10 months off sick in 14. Now, I've had 55 people look at my back, my hips and my legs.
Oh.
And I've had top specialists and professors have all said to me, you can never work again.
Did you have a back injury then?
Yeah, I've damaged all of the vertebrae.
Oh, you know, the interesting thing, Ian, with you and with our caller earlier, who'd been a nurse, Emma, I think when you've got spinal damage and spinal pain, I can't even imagine what that's like, Wilfred. I'm thinking, you're going to give Ian a pass here, aren't you? I hope.
No, but it's awful. But actually, what we all need in life is some sense of purpose. Whatever we may be inflicted with is, you know...
You think you can still work?
What I'm trying to ask, these are the sort of conversations, is that taking into consideration the conditions and everything, what is it you think that you can do? How can we help you to have some sort of purpose? Because it can't be good for the soul not to be able to do anything.
All right, Bianca in Kent, hi.
Hello.
What do you think about this? Cut benefits to force people back to work.
Right. There's 2 points, if I can make them really quickly.
Yeah.
The first one is people, I know this sounds crazy, but people cannot afford to work. And that is why there are people on benefits, because I've rung in before and said if you look at minimum wage, I live in Ashford, Kent, a 1-bedroom flat for, say, a single male is about £900 to £1,000 a month. So even if after they pay their bills and their rent, they're still getting their money topped up, probably with benefit money, because they cannot afford to just do that full-time job.
Yeah, it's crazy. And if they don't rent the flat, somebody else will. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the first point I'd like to make. And the second point is I've been signed off for about the last 10 years. I used to be a teacher. I've been signed off for mental issues, but now for physical issues. And I've had 1 appointment at the hospital in 2 years. And if I told you the amount of money I'm on, you wouldn't believe it, because it's a lot, and I get a lot of people sort of having a go at me over it.
Tell us.
I feel guilty for what I get.
How much?
Altogether, I get $2,800 a month.
And that includes housing benefit?
That includes my rent. And I've got 1 child. That's everything. But the thing is...
You're on about 30 grand, yeah.
I'd rather have the use of my legs back. I can no longer even walk to the local shop.
I understand.
I'd rather have my legs back. But that's the way it goes. And
we had somebody on a couple of days ago, you might have seen him, who said that he's bipolar and he's been off for 10 years and he thinks he is overpaid in sickness and benefits.
I think all the concessions like that I get my medication free and stuff, and then that's another thing, people that work and they've got to pay for their medication if they've got asthma. It's all wrong. I think people on benefits get given too much, and that's someone on benefits saying that. Right. I just think it all needs overhaul.
It's 30 grand, I think, yeah. Thank you, Bianca, very much.
I don't pay a lot of people that work for that amount of money.
Yes, but you know what? A sign of a true society is how well it looks after those who require its support. And so if that is what has been designated as what Bianca needs, then that is what she should get. And we should be proud that we are able to support Bianca like that.
Don't you create a reverse incentive, which is that people hear that call, they think, hang on a minute, she's paid twice as much as me for not
She
working.
can't use her legs.
Yeah, but she can't. I don't know about this particular person.
Why are we breeding this them and us attitude?
Hold on. But what we're trying to say is
Why are we breeding this? Let's kick the people who are down.
No, we're not saying that.
Further down.
What we have to ask the question is that can they do something? Even if it's a little, even if it's just an hour.
Because otherwise they're useless to us, Wilfred.
Thank you both.